here I am, how do you do?
Mommy, mommy, be shy, where you? For you?
That's a squishy ball. What else did you get?
How about you?
A coloring book?
My coloring book?
Yeah. What else?
Aha.
Crayon.
Crayon. Aha.
Cotton candy.
Candy. Aha. It's lollipop.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What's that?
Bubble. Oh. Yes, mommy.
A ring pop.
Wow, it's so fun.
Yeah, that is so fun.
Hi you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be sharing with you all 5 things that you can do at home with your child if they have a speech delay. First off, I would like to make a disclaimer and say I'm just a mom. Right now I'm actually in school to become an SLP, but I do not have a certification or anything like that. So if your child is between the ages of 2 and 3 years old and they still aren't talking or they're babbling and you notice their speech is kind of delayed, I highly recommend that you find a speech therapist for your child. Early intervention is extremely important. At 2 years old, my son started speech therapy, but he did not really start saying his first words and forming those first sentences until he was about 3.5 years old. But these are just some tips that you can do at home until you find a speech therapist, while your child is in speech therapy, or if you're waiting for a speech therapist. Tip number 1, I would suggest that you set aside at least 20 to 30 minutes where you work on your child's speech. Doing an activity, for example, you can start off with bubbles. A lot of kids love bubbles. That's one of the things, or one of the first words that my son actually said. So I would get some bubbles and I would keep the words very, very simple in the beginning. I wouldn't say too many words at one time, especially if you have a target word that you want them to use in mind. So for example, you have bubbles and you will say bubble, pop, pop, pop. Wow, a bubble, big bubble. You'll notice that my voice kind of went up. Whenever I said bubble or pop, make it really fun, make it really engaging for your child, because that would encourage them to engage in the activity, but also use the word as well. So you'll say bubble, or you'll say pop, you'll say wow, big bubble, and you will repeat the word that you want them to repeat 10 to 15 times. At least 10 to 15 times in that session, because the more you repeat it, the more likely they'll be able to catch on and repeat that word as well. Number 2, use play-based therapies for your child, especially if they're extremely young. It's really important that your child is engaged in whatever you're trying to show them or introduce them to. Play-Doh, water play, kids love water, bubbles, like I said earlier, and even a little house. If you use a house, that would open even more doors for vocabulary that you can use with your child. And I won't say exclude flashcards or the workbooks that you can find at Walmart for your child. I wouldn't say exclude them, but I would really recommend that everything kind of be something that they can use their hands with, get those sensory and motor skills activated, and really get involved in the activity. Number 3, it's so important as parents to recognize and be open to the different ways that your child will and can communicate with you. I know with having a speech delayed toddler, it's wanting them to talk is at the very top of the list, but that's not the only way humans communicate. We communicate with verbal cues and nonverbal cues. So if your child isn't talking and they're pointing to the things that they want, that's awesome. Encourage that. If you're working with a child and you're saying the color blue, they may not say the color blue, but they're pointing to it, or they may not say it, but they pick up the blue crayon and they color with it. That's awesome. You want to encourage that. If they aren't talking, but they're pulling you to an item or whatever they want, encourage that and say, oh, you want popcorn. Oh, you want something to drink. Incorporate those words, but also encouraging and acknowledging the different ways that they communicate with you. You want them to feel secure. You want them to build a bond with you. I think that was important for my son, especially because a lot of times if your child isn't talking, they're used to getting ignored or overlooked or feeling like they aren't being seen or heard just because they can't talk. So it's important to acknowledge the different ways that they communicate with you. Number 4, it's important that you model without the expectation that they'll repeat you every single time. You may work with your child for weeks, or the speech therapist might work with your child for weeks and they might not say anything. That's okay. Children are like sponges, especially speech delayed toddlers. I noticed that in the beginning, my child wasn't really saying much in the speech therapy sessions, but when I worked with him at home, he said so many words, and it was just so crazy to me. We would go out in public, he still wouldn't talk, he still wouldn't say anything, but everything he learned, all the words and the vocabulary that they use at the speech therapy session, he would come home and use those words. So please understand, your child is always listening. Even if they don't repeat you, or even if they don't model you, still continue to provide vocabulary for them to use, because they may not say it right then and there, but I promise that they're listening. And later on down the line, you'll notice, like, man, all those times that I worked with them, they weren't saying anything, or all the times that I was talking to them and they weren't responding, but one day, boom, they just start responding. They start talking back to you. They use words you didn't even know they knew. So it's really important that you model and that you work with them and that you provide them with the vocabulary that they need, even if they aren't saying anything back to you. And number 5, I noticed this was a huge thing with my son, just wouldn't make a lot of eye contact. That is so important, that your child is making eye contact with you. Whenever you have a toy in your hand, I would highly recommend that you hold it up by your mouth whenever you're talking to them. For example, you have a ball or you have a car. You'll put that toy up to your mouth and you'll say, car. Wow, a car. Repeat it at least 3 to 4 times. If they're reaching for it and they're starting to get fussy, I wouldn't recommend that you continue to, withhold the toy or anything that they really want. Try to hold out as long as possible, though, to see if they'll repeat it. If they don't, that's okay. Continue to keep doing what you're doing, but always holding the toy up to your mouth or holding the item up to your mouth so that you know that they're paying attention, that they're looking at your mouth and they're seeing how that word is formed, so that when they do go to talk to you or form those words, they're able to know how to do that. Okay, so those are just 5 simple things that you can do at home with your child if they have a speech delay or if they aren't talking. I hope that you all found these tips helpful. I want to say that your child meets with their speech therapist maybe once or twice a week, but most of that work has to be done at home. I know that it can be difficult, it can be frustrating, especially if your child isn't talking or they're getting frustrated and throwing tantrums if they aren't able to communicate with you effectively, if they feel like they want something and you don't know what they want. Reinforce the things that they go over in speech therapy. My speech therapist told me, you are your child's lifelong therapist. They will go through many speech therapists, they will go through many occupational therapists, but you're there 24/7. So you have to be accountable as well and do what you can at home. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.
Pop.
Stretch, pop.
Yeah.
Good job.
Oh, yucky.
Yummy.
Mommy.
Yummy.
Oh,
Pop. Smell. Yummy. You want the Play-Doh? Yummy. Very yummy. Hi. That's TJ's. And then pour some water in Mommy's bowl. Baby Shark goes swimming in the water. Yeah. Let Baby Shark go swimming. Dive. Splash. Dive. Splash. Hi, Baby Shark.
Baby shark.
Hi, Baby Shark. You want popcorn?
Popcorn.
Can you open?
Open.
The popcorn. Say, help, Mommy.
Mommy.
Okay, I'll help you. Popcorn. Now press 3. Is it popping?
Mommy.
Pop, pop, pop.
Pop, pop, pop.
Very hot. Ouch. It's hot.
Pops. So hot.
Yes, it's very hot. Your bowl.
Hey, ball.
And you put your popcorn in the bowl, okay? Here you go. How many dinosaurs?
1, 2. 2 and 4.
That's not a dinosaur.
5.
It's a pig.
Others.
It's a pig. How many cars?
2 cars.
2 cars. Yeah, 2.
Yeah, 2.
2 cars.
1, 2.
Good job.